Okay, Global Jujutsu Kaisen has been moving at a ridiculous pace, and so we honestly don't know when these characters are coming, but I think it's highly possible that we see Toji and Gojo sometime here within the next 2 to 3 months. So either in January, February, or March. I think it's very, very possible to see them in January, but we'll just have to see what they have planned for the global side of the game. Now, technically, Geto will come out at the same time as them, but today I just want to focus on Toji and Gojo because they are both attacker type characters, and some people are only going to be able to pull for one. So I want to go over which of these two characters is the best character in the long term for you to be going for, especially if you are a free-to-play or a light spender. So to start off with, looking at the JP tier list, comparing these two characters to all the other characters that are currently available on JP, because JP is ahead of global, these two characters are both still in double S rank or at the top of the tier list. So honestly, just straight up, you can't go wrong with either of them, but I do think one of these characters has the edge over the other when it comes to longevity and overall uses in the game. So we're going to go over what both of these characters can do, and then I'm going to explain why I think you should summon for one over the other. So starting with Toji Fushiguro, A, he's sick. B, he's the only one in the game. There's a bunch of other Gojos, but like this, I really like this character. I am actually in love with this character. I can't wait for him to come out. So characteristic, he is unable to recover or consume cursed energy. His skill 1 is called Exorcism Slash, deals 180% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy for 2 hits, and decreases the selected enemy's critical hit resistance by 15.3% for 3 turns. Decreasing critical hit resist on a skill 1 I think is phenomenal, and it's 3 turns, meaning you can stack it. That's really good. That's going to allow him to do so much more damage whenever he hits a crit. Also, any other characters you might run will be able to hit crits easier as well. His skill 2 requires 0 curse energy, and same thing with skill 3, so you can literally choose whichever skill you want to use whenever you want to use them. Another thing that makes him so amazing. His skill 2 is called a Slaughter Slash, deals 331.5% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy for 3 hits. This skill also nullifies any damage reduction that the enemy has. Okay, so that right there is freaking insane. So if they have damage reduction, it does not matter. Toji will cut through it for 3 hits at 331.5%. That's a lot for a level 1 skill. At level 10, it's 496%. This skill does some big damage, which is why you would want to upgrade this skill first if you were looking for upgrade priority. His skill 3 is called Special Grade Curse Tool, Inverted Spear of Heaven. It increases own break damage by 170% one time, removes attack nullification from an enemy, and 1 removable buff from the selected enemy. Recent buffs I prioritize. So he can remove buffs, he can get rid of attack nullification, he can ignore defense, right? He's looking good so far. Also, he deals 130.6% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy for 2 hits with this skill. At level 10, it goes up to 195%. And then his ultimates, All Things I Can Handle, removes attack nullification again and a removable buff, but not just from one enemy, from all enemies. Recent buffs are prioritized, and he deals 960% range taijutsu damage to all enemies. He has an AoE ultimate just like the Gojos, and he doesn't go away. And at level 10, that percentage goes way up. And if that was not enough, he also has insane auto skills. His auto skill 1, Physically Gifted, at the start of the battle, increases own taijutsu damage by 50%, recovers own HP by 3.5% every turn. So he heals himself, he gets extra damage from the start of battle. He also reduces his own damage received by 15%. He also has a chance to evade single target attacks by 20%, and he has guaranteed hit immunity to himself, and then he cannot be targeted by some skill/status elements as well. Dude, he's nuts, right? When critical hit is performed, grants critical hit status to self, which is a 50% chance, activates on the next skill used, so that's where the crits come in. And then his second skill, I think I'm getting my edge back now, when critical hit is performed, increases own taijutsu damage by 15% for 3 turns. However, it can't be stacked, which is unfortunate. While the previous effect is activated, when critical hit is performed again, increases own taijutsu damage by 25% for 3 turns. It can't be be stacked again, and if the 25% buff is active, the 15% buff goes away. But still, that's good. Toji is absolutely insane. He might be one of my favorite kits in the game. Honestly, still one of my favorite characters. He is so good. But Gojo is also equally as good. A little bit different, obviously, because one uses no cursed energy, the other one is going to use cursed energy, but unlike other Gojos, I will say this one does not go away, so that's a big plus. When critical hit is performed, he also increases his own damage, so keep that in mind. His skill 1 requires no cursed energy. Converge and Strike deals melee combined damage equal to 125.4% taijutsu and 95.2% jujutsu to the selected enemy. So that right there is nice because it has both types of damage. That means you can use this skill against potentially any enemy you want, and it will still do a decent amount of damage. Some enemies in some circumstances have like jujutsu resist or taijutsu resist. Well, you don't have to worry about that with Gojo. You do have to worry about that a little bit more with him because all of his stuff is going to be taijutsu for Toji. He also attracts the selected enemy's attack to himself for 1 turn with a 35% chance to activate that, and this skill fills his ultimate gauge more than other skills. Drawing aggro to himself is really nice to have on a skill as well, because normally you have to use recollections to get that with Gojo, but this Gojo is able to actually do that on his own. His skill 2 is called Limitless Curse Technique. Notice it only requires 1 cursed energy, so this one also requires 1 cursed energy. While Gojo requires some cursed energy, Toji has 0, so I mean, they're about the same in terms of usefulness. You can use any skill you want, any turn you want with this character as well. Grants attack immunity to self for 3 turns. Increases own damage received by 30% for 3 turns, but it doesn't matter if he takes more damage because he has attack immunity, which is good. And then increases own jujutsu damage by 5% for 5 turns. While the increase own jujutsu damage is active, changes skill into Curse Technique Disclosure, which means he is then, when you use the skill, going to be able to increase his own damage by 53.9% for 4 turns and increase his own critical hit rate by 30% for 4 turns. Now, this is really unique because this is an insane self-buffing skill, because you are going to be able to activate the skill multiple times in a row, stack up that damage and crit rate, and then be able to nuke with your ultimate. And at level 10, this is an 80% damage boost. It's really important and really good. This is by far his best skill because this buff is absolutely insane. Additionally, it makes it so he can't take damage. So like, what is there not to like about this skill? This skill is just really good. Skill 3 is Limitless Convergence, deals 260% range jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, decreases the selected enemy's damage by 30% for 2 turns. So decreasing the enemy's damage is nice on this skill as well, and at level 10 it does not change that, but the damage does go up a decent amount. And then his ultimate, Curse Technique Lapse Maximum Cursed Energy Output Blue. This is an AoE skill just like Toji, and it has roughly about the same percentage of damage at level 1 and level 10, and it's going to do 1,500 range jujutsu damage to all enemies, but for 5 hits. That is actually so good. Gojo's insane too, man. They're both really good. And then the auto skill, Limitless Curse Technique, at the start of battle, grants attack immunity to self for 2 turns, so you don't have to worry about being attacked the first turn, and then increases own damage received by 30% for 2 turns, but it doesn't matter because you have attack immunity, and then increases own jujutsu damage by 5% for 4 turns as well. So this guy is going to be able to have attack nullification. He's going to have a bunch of self-buffing that increases his damage and his critical hit rate. He's going to have a massive nuke on his ultimate skill if you are self-buffing. He has the ability to decrease the enemy's damage if you want, and he can raise his own ultimate skill gauge with a skill 1 whenever you need to if you want to. And you can use whichever skill you want whenever you want, essentially, with this Gojo. And he's a very good yellow type character. So in terms of kit, honestly, I couldn't tell you guys which one of these characters to go for, but there are some other factors that come into play when we're talking about which one of these characters you want to summon for. So the number 1 factor for me, in my opinion, is you go and look at the typings, and if you look at all of the yellow type characters, there are not very many good yellow type attackers. The best yellow type attacker here, I would say, is the Anniversary Itadori. However, he is not going to be out before this Gojo on Global, so Gojo is going to be one of your best attackers on Global. Nanami's pretty good, but he's more of like a buff character in a way. Like he's similar to Megumi. Megumi and Nanami are both pretty good buff characters, and they do decent damage, but they're not going to do anything like the amount of damage that these two attacker characters can do. So keep that in mind. Nobara is also decent, but like still not anywhere on the level of these two. So Gojo is going to be one of your best yellow type attackers, and that's actually super important for Illusory Tower, because when you start getting to like floor, let's say 38 is the one that kills you. It is really hard to beat floor 38 with like just Nobara and Megumi. Like you almost need this Gojo or this Itadori to be able to clear floor 38 with relative like ease and not relying on RNG. That's how good this Gojo is going to be. So he is one of the best yellow attackers. Now if we look at the red characters, okay, we got a couple of good red attackers. So Yuta is already in the game for global. We already have him. He is one of the best red attackers in the game, besides the anniversary Gojo, who once again is going to come out after Toji. Now the thing is, Toji is coming out after Yuta, so if you already have Yuta, and some people already have him duped out a little bit, I mean, you already have a very strong attacker, and you're not necessarily going to need Toji as much for climbing through Illusory Tower if you have Yuta. Now, if you don't have Yuta, maybe you weren't lucky enough to get him or you started playing the game afterwards, then you're going to want Toji pretty badly, because he is going to be like your best red attacker, because there are literally no other good red attackers until this Gojo comes out. Now, beyond that, we also have to look at team scope and the future of the game, right? So if we go and look at Toji's team, this is the ideal team to run for Toji, and he works well, I want to point out, with the anniversary Gojo. That's what I think is really unique about him, because not only can you, like, typically when new characters come out, Gojo would push Toji out of the meta and Toji wouldn't be as useful anymore. But this time, the fact that Gojo came out, it actually was a good thing for Toji and brought Toji even more into the meta and made him more relevant, because he's a debuffer character. Then you have the buff with the red Itadori, and then you just have insane damage with Toji right here. This team works really well with Toji, so it's nice that you can use both the anniversary Gojo when he comes out on global and Toji. So Toji will have more longevity, I would argue, than yellow Gojo, because yellow Gojo, notice he is not able to be run with yellow Itadori. The yellow Itadori was the anniversary Itadori right here, right? So typically you can't run these two characters together. You have to run one or the other. So if you do want to summon for yellow Itadori and you get him in the future, then you're going to stop using yellow Gojo as much. Whereas if you got the Toji, you'll still be able to use him just as much as you were using him, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind when you are thinking about summoning for these characters. So breakdown wise, I would say that Toji has more longevity for the game, but Gojo is going to be better immediately for Illusory Tower for anybody that is summoning for him on global. So with that information, you guys will have to make your own decision on who is better out of the two. But personally, I'm going to say that I think because of all of the buffs and stuff that Toji does, his ability to ignore defense as well, I would go for Toji, just because of everything that he does and all the stuff that his auto skills do, and the fact that he requires 0 cursed energy. I just think he's a very good all-around character. Don't get me wrong, Gojo's very good too. I think, and just in my opinion, Toji has the slight edge. But once again, I think they're both very good characters to summon for, and I can't really give you a 100% perfect answer on like you need to go for this character over this character, but that's just my personal opinion. I know that may not help a ton, but hopefully that helps a little bit. So once again, I'll just reiterate, Gojo for immediate payoff, because he'll be good in Illusory Tower and you're going to need him. Trust me, Illusory Tower gets very hard for the yellow stages with the characters that are currently available on global. And you should go for Toji if you want the longevity for him to be good for a long time to come in the game, because he will be used even when the first anniversary characters come out, whereas he won't be able to be used with the first anniversary Itadori. So that's my opinion. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the channel. Peace.